Convulsions of the so-called Second Army of the World. Russia has begun to demothball military junk from the Second World War as it has lost its latest equipment at the front. The Pentagon said that no one could have imagined that Ukraine could be able to deplete the enemy to such an extent. And they are very positive about our chances of a successful counteroffensive. When it will start and what the situation at the front line is now, see in our review.
Ukrainian troops continue to hold back Russians in bombed but not conquered Bakhmut.
The city is under constant shelling with cassettes and mines. There is practically no one in the street. Everyone is either on positions or in shelters. I would like to say that this part of the city is under control of the Ukrainian armed forces and the enemy cannot get here.
According to the American Institute for the Study of War, the Russians probably captured 65% of Bakhmut. However, the Ukrainian military made a breakthrough on the northern outskirts and took control of the approaches to the Bakhmut-Slavyansk highway. Avdiivka is becoming the epicenter of the Russian offensive in the east, the Defense Forces headquarters said. 2,000 people, including 7 children, remain in the city. They are being persuaded to leave.
Would you like to leave for a safer place? A place with children and normal education? When will you leave?
I don't know. When it will be critical, I will leave.
But your child is willing to go.
Experts critically assess the offensive capabilities of Russia, which, due to the catastrophic loss of equipment, is decommissioning even the Second World War tanks. The video shows an echelon of T-54 and T-55 tanks being transported by Russian railroad. According to the Defense Express analysts, the occupiers have up to 2,800 such vehicles in military dumps. However, due to the lack of components, even the modernization of much newer equipment in Russia is disrupted.
The Russian occupation forces can conduct limited offensive actions today only on the Donetsk bridgehead, and again limited ones along a narrow front or in a single location in the Luhansk region. They have resources, but the conditions created by the Ukrainian armed forces are not favorable for the Russians to launch offensive actions, so they mostly imitate them there.
The Russians have the worst equipment and personnel in Zaporizhia and the left bank of the Kherson region, so they cannot conduct an offensive there at all, the expert adds. The Pentagon is also talking about the critical depletion of Russian forces.
Ukrainians have inflicted significant casualties on the Russians, and they have depleted their inventory of armored vehicles in a way that no one would have ever imagined. And so now we see Russia reaching for T-54 and T-55 tanks because of the level of damage that the Ukrainians have inflicted on it.
According to Secretary Austin, Ukraine has a very good chance of a successful counteroffensive this spring. It will begin in April-May on several fronts at once, the defense minister announced. Alexei Reznikov personally tested the German Marder combat vehicles that have already arrived in Ukraine. The Ukrainian armed forces are waiting for more Leopards, and the US has promised to speed up the delivery of Abrams tanks.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Latest news, trends, and analytics on all about Ukraine. Like, share, and subscribe. Any questions, proposals, and comments, contact us via email.